To see, a sitting governor be able to appoint their own successor, certainly something that we don't see all the time in politics.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by congressional reporter Samantha-Jo Roth. SJ, we are seeing a senator from Tennessee leaving the Senate to run for governor, Marsha Blackburn. It's going to create a sort of run on her Senate seat, albeit a fairly safe Republican seat. But what are you hearing?
Well, this is a really interesting seat because essentially what's going to happen is she is, launching her bid for governor. In all instances, it does look like she likely is going to win. I mean,
Sure.
Obviously there's going to be an election, but then
That's good.
Yeah. But then eventually, likely she will vacate her seat and then be able to appoint her successor. So that is like something that's really unique and interesting.
Sure.
So obviously the campaign is saying that right now they're not focused on that. They're just focused on winning the race. But there is, this underground shuffling of names and people that are starting to come out of the woodwork. There's a couple people who are talking about it, like Tim Burchett told our David Sivak this week that he was potentially interested. Representative Ogles, some lesser known names.
Sure.
So it should be interesting to see what exactly is going to happen, but to see a sitting governor be able to appoint their own successor, certainly something that we don't see all the time in politics.
So a senator who lost his seat in the last election is potentially eyeing a return in what used to be a battleground state, but maybe isn't quite so much anymore.
Right. So we're hearing that Sherrod Brown of Ohio, longtime Democrat, is looking at potentially hiring some campaign managers for this upcoming race. Obviously, this is for the seat that J.D. Vance vacated when he became vice president. Now Senator Husted has that. So this will be a special election, and there's a lot of hope and optimism on the Democratic side. Sherrod Brown really didn't lose by that many points. He is very beloved in Ohio. Just the conditions of the election year were not favorable for Democrats, and that's part of the reason why he lost his seat. So a lot of Democrats really see this as a silver lining, especially given in the state of Ohio, it's trended more and more red over the last couple of years, and the bench of Democrats who are in Ohio is not stacked at all.
Sure, right.
So, a lot of Democrats who I've spoken to have said really their only hope is Sherrod Brown.
Who's been around since the 80s.
100%.
Yeah.
And, it's not a done deal yet. He at one point was looking at running for governor. By all indications, it does seem like he's, trending towards running for Senate. So that would be very good news for Senator Chuck Schumer and the rest of Senate Democrats who are looking at, a very difficult map this cycle.
It is a difficult map, and Republicans have a bigger majority in the Senate than they do in the House. But if the Brown news holds, it would seem to continue a trend toward Democrats at least getting some of the candidates they want for these seats.
Yeah, absolutely. And this follows, in North Carolina, we had former Governor Roy Cooper jump into the race. He is the dream candidate for many Democrats, a popular governor, somebody that worked with Republicans. So, in some of these swing states, when you have these members of Congress or governors who have, positive reputations, that really gives them the best fighting shot that they have. Obviously, there's a lot of, the map heavily favors Republicans, and they have, I think Senate Democrats would have to flip at least 4 seats and then hold every single thing that they have in order to regain the majority. So it's an uphill battle for them. They know that, but, this definitely gives them a glimmer of hope to have these two candidates who, have run statewide and have been battle tested in the past.
And Nancy Mace is going to be leaving her House seat to run for governor of South Carolina, which could also set off a little bit of a scramble to replace her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a wide open race for that. I think a lot of, and it's an interesting seat too, because it has in recent years shuffled between Democrats and Republicans. It's been a while. It's been I think 2018 was the last time it was in Democratic hands.
Right.
But you have to remember sometimes in, 2026, it's a midterm election. The president's party often loses seats. It's just history. So,
Which is the last time a Democrat held that seat was under similar circumstances.
exactly. So I think, the conditions are interesting for Democrats, and, Republicans are all shuffling, trying to figure it out too.
Well, it's going to be a tough slog for Republicans to keep that House majority, but
Absolutely. I think they're looking a little bit better in the Senate than they are in the House, for sure.
definitely more encouraging map. Thank you, SJ.
Thank you.
You can read Samantha-Jo and the rest of our political team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.